what we're going to do here is we're going to make an outside deck for the pig pen instead of a mud pool for them. Last year we had a big old pond here and we had to dig it out because it got so bad. So this is what it looks like. There's our lumber. And right now we're just putting in the cement pillars, and by tomorrow we should have the framework up. Okay, one of the first things you want to do is you want to get your pillars in place so when you put your truss on it, it's nice and level. And the best thing to do is to start from the highest point and work down to the lowest. Okay, we're going to put a 16-foot board or frame on top of this. And so this is where we're starting. One convenient part of this is we're using the adjustable brackets right there. So if we're off level or not flat all the way across before we put the top on it, we can adjust it with those nuts down at the bottom. This deck is going to be just like any other deck, so if you want to build a deck, this is a good way to go. Next we'll do the next 8-foot section here, and then we'll come and do the other side. Okay, the test that we're level all the way across is the 16-foot 2x6 I've got sitting on top there. It's resting well. That's going to be part of the frame, which will be the next part up. So the next step is to do the next side, and how we'll start that is well, you'll see. Okay, we're starting on the other side. And the one thing we want to make sure is that we're level with the first side. So what I've done here is I've dug a hole for the first brick. I put it in a temporary 4x4. It's not really sitting on anything, except I need it right there in the center. And I put a 2x6 across. Okay, a little break there. I couldn't find my wrench. Apparently I buried it when I dug up the hole. Anyway, there's our level, and it looks like it's perfect. So we don't have to do any adjusting. I lucked out on this one. All right, so we're ready to put in the next two pillars, and then we'll look at fastening it down. Four by fours are parallel. So, okay, it's 80 3/4. Okay. See, we haven't buried this one yet, so we can still adjust it. And this one is 80 7/8, 1/8 of an inch. Well, you can fix that. All right, 80 3/4. All right, we're ready to do the last one and to bury this one. Okay, so up to this point we haven't had any trouble just guessing on the height of the brick, but on this one there's quite a difference between this all being level and this last one. And the way to find out how far down you need to go is you set it in the brick on that end, and then you come down to this end and you find out how far you got to go to make it level. And right there it would be level. So we're at about 3 3/4 inches. So I need to go down 3 3/4 with that. Okay, something I didn't point out earlier is the tools you need to dig your hole. If your ground's real hard, you might need a pickaxe. But if it's not too bad, it's always helpful to have a flat shovel. The flat shovel makes it real easy to fit your brick in nice and level. And so now I got to go to work and go 3 1/2 inches, 3 3/4. Now the last cinder is in, and we need to check level going across. That's good, or pretty close to good. And that one's close enough. Let's see. And it's high. And it's a little low. With a span like this, you're going to have a little bit of change. We're probably talking about 1/4 inch total adjustment. And so it's looking good. So now the last thing we're doing, it's getting late, it's starting to get dark, is we need to measure diagonally, corner to corner, so we know our trusses are square. And if we go diagonally both ways and it's the same, then it is square. Okay, right now we've got 208 and a half, or 1/4, 208 1/4. And if this is within 1/2 inch or an inch, 1/2 inch, we're doing good. 209. So what you want to do is we want to push that way a little bit, and now we've got 208 3/4. And 208 3/4. We're good to go. So we'll nail this in, and tomorrow we'll do our frame and hopefully our top and get it all done. Well, then we'll have to do the sides another time. Till tomorrow. Alright, last night we left off with the trusses secured down to the cinders, and today we built the frame with a 2-foot centering. Since I'm going to be putting 2x6s on top, 2x6 or 24-inch centering is plenty close enough for strength. So we made the frame and secured it to the wall, and then squared it again, make sure that it was squared from corner to corner or diagonally, which was 116 1/2 inches. So that's square. And then once we got it square, we bracketed them to the truss. And on both sides. And so tomorrow we'll start putting on the floor. One mistake that I made was I forgot to cut the cross pieces at 93 inches. So Now they're 3 inches too long. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to pop this end off and cut each of those boards 3 inches and then put the end back on, and then I'll just put the floor on. And we should be finishing up with it tomorrow. And hopefully we'll get the fence up too. Alright, that's it for tonight. This morning we popped off the end of this board and cut 3 inches off of each one of these trusses, so we have an even 8 foot all the way across. So if when we put walls on it, we'll have 8 foot instead of 8 foot 3 inches. And now we're starting to put on the decking. Now this is untreated, just regular green 2x4s, because this is an animal floor and I don't want any kind of chemicals for them to be rotting up. So what we're doing here is we're staggering our 2x6s. 3 nails per truss, and then every other board. One is 8 foot, one is 4, the next is 8, the next is 4. And the reason you want to do that is so that your full board is carrying the strength of the trusses on both sides. If you had a cut all the way down, this truss will be bearing most of the load where the cut is. So when you stagger, you're staggering your weight. You can have a much higher weight capacity on this floor. Since we're going with 2 foot centers, we want to disperse the weight as much as we can. So we should be able to get the top done today, and maybe even the fencing. Okay, so we finished our deck. Since this is for pigs, we didn't put any spacing between the 2x6s. If I was making a real deck, I would have put a 1/4 inch spacing, like the thickness of a pencil. But instead, it's all nice and tight, and it's 8 foot by 16. The material list on this is 34 8 foot 2x6s, green, and then the frame was 2 16 foot 2x6s and 9 8 foot 2x6s. Now those are all pressure treated, and underneath the frame we've got the joists, which we've got 4 4x4 8 foot long pressure treated joists, and underneath the joists we had the cinder blocks that you saw in the video, and there was 6 of those, and all the plus about 5 pounds of nails, maybe 10. Yeah, probably about 10 pounds of nails, and we have a deck or a floor. Thanks for watching our video.